Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the different stages of clay and what your clay is going to look like based on the class that it's going back for. So the first clay that we have is going to be on your first class, which is class number 1, and the clay is going to be wet clay. So this is exactly how the clay comes out of the bag from the manufacturer. It's going to be very squishy, very soft, very smooth. This is where our students are going to build their piece. So that's the key word there, you build with wet clay. So say you have a pinch pot that day, the students are going to build their pinch pot. You will be able to basically form any type of pottery form you want to make with wet clay. So say our students are making their pinch pot, this will be on your first class. They make their pinch pots. For example, this is our spring session that I'm recording this, so that's going to be a lily pad, but we'll just pretend, use our imaginations that this is a lily pad. So this is your very first class, wet clay. Your second class, when you bring the bins back, all of the projects back to the student for the second class, it's going to have a different form. It's going to be leather hard. So with leather hard clay, it's no longer malleable like this one. I could still kind of press into it if I wanted. It will still move. It's very good for carving. At this point, if the students want to take their pencils and add some little, carving marks. But if the clay really moves too much, it's going to do something like this. It's going to crack. So when you bring your pieces back for your students to glaze on their second class, we're pretending like this is a leather hard pinch pot here. When you bring this back for them to glaze on their second class, it's going to be harder than this, but it is still going to be a little bit wet. Now I've got my glaze here. This is what our glaze looks like. So this is our very special paint that is only used in ceramics. And what happens with this glaze is once we put this into our kiln, the little tiny pieces of glass that are kind of ground up and put inside of here are going to fuse together, and they're going to vitrify, which means they're going to turn into a nice shiny glass. So your piece is going to first go from wet clay, then it's going to be leather hard, where we are going to glaze it. A lot of studios don't glaze until they have fired the piece for the first time. We actually have a special glaze here, and it is a under glaze is what it's called. So it is able to be glazed before you actually put it into the kiln. At this point, you are going to send your work to storage so that we can fire it. Now we fire after this stage, after it's been glazed, we fire the following weekend. We have a big fire, and when it is returned to you, it's going to be nice and hard like this. This is our bisque piece right here. It has been bisque fired. So if you hear me tap on that, it's nice and hard. This is not. No noise for that one. This piece has not been glazed. This piece has been glazed. So if you have a student that, say, is absent on a class, and they have, say they built the piece, but they were not here to glaze the piece, if it comes back to the studio, when it's returned to the student, it will look like this. They can glaze it at that point if they want. If they are there for the glaze day, it's going to come back nice and shiny, just like this one right here. So this will be on the third class. When you return it to them, will look just like this. This is a glaze bisque fired piece right here. Hoping that this shows the importance of everything being fired. We did have a teacher one time that it was a catastrophic mess. She returned everything before it was fired. She did not understand that it all had to come in through the kiln, and when she returned it, all of the pieces basically just crumbled and turned into ash and dust, or whatever it is, dirt, whatever you want to call it. So it is very, very important that you get these pieces back to storage after they've been glazed so that we can get it fired in the kiln, and then we will return it to you in storage nice and shiny and hard, and this is the point when it is ready to go home with the students.